Hi, this is special guest Raymond Matos. I am a guest on the Real Estate Playbook hosted by Paul Goldman. I look forward to seeing you all on this episode and hope you enjoy the listen, whether it be on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever streaming platform Paul Goldman has uploaded this to. Thank you.
Yuck. All right, I think we're golden, my man.
Gary!
Oh my God. Keep it all in. Keep it all in. Okay. All right.
I think being a voice actor would be cool.
Right. How is this the first time I'm discovering this talent of yours?
I don't know. I'm loud as fuck, so I'll make noises all the time.
Oh, you just made my day, man.
Well, I'm glad.
Okay. Let's in 3, 2, 1.
Is this going?
It's going, yeah.
Oh.
It's all right.
Okay.
I'm sweating so much. Okay. All right. Whew. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Real Estate Playbook. Wouldn't you know it, it's a sunny Sunday afternoon in beautiful Tampa, Florida, and I'm in a good mood, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one, if you're watching the video, or even if you're listening to audio, you might notice the equipment is a bit different. That's right. We got a little bit of an upgrade, folks. So hopefully, that's right. So hopefully this will fix some of the audio issues we've had in the past. Number two, okay, this fella sitting across from me here, Mr. Raymond Matos, a fan favorite of the pod, if you will. How are you, Ray?
I'm all right, Paul. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here. The sun is shining. We're sweating.
Well, I'm actually pretty good right now.
You're good on the
I
sweat
think it's
level.
just you. Yeah.
I am sweating.
But it's a little bit warm in here.
It's a wee bit toasty. So, Ray, this is round 2, man.
Yeah, it is.
That it is. What if we just just dead serious all the time? We're doing NPR. Round 2.
Round 2.
We got into a lot of stuff in the first episode, right?
We did.
A whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, like an hour.
Something like
plus.
that. It was gold. It was podcast gold. Goldman.
Goldman. Yeah.
I couldn't think of a clever one for you, but and it's so funny we can like hear each other in our headphones right now. We're just not used to this setup.
It is nice though. I will tell
nice.
you, anybody that does this in the future, like it's a different experience.
That's
and
right.
You won't be able to tell just by looking at this video, but like the mic is really great, but like placing it is just very weird. It's just very much in your face.
It is. It's this big pop socket here is very it's very intrusive, if you ask me. So Ray, for people who haven't seen your previous episode, if you could summarize yourself in a few short words or sentences, how would you describe who Raymond Matos is?
A ball of anxiety that has a lot of love. He likes to be kind of loud and really likes to lift people's spirits, and
There you go.
I don't know, could be a little bit of a motivator despite being a very negative thinker. Yeah. So
I like it.
I like to think that I'm complex, but I don't know if other people think I'm complex.
I think you are. I just
feel
learned that you can do impressions a few minutes ago.
A little bit. A couple. I'm sure more will come to me, and if they do, then I'll show you those too.
They'll fit in nicely. So he's also a real estate agent. Let's just clear that up for the people out there. He's not just some guy that wandered in.
I did kind of just want the door was open.
The door was open. I unlocked it. And here we are. So Ray, we talked a lot about some real estate related things in the last episode, but mostly about sort of mindset type things, staying positive. I can't remember everything we talked about, but that was the general vibe.
Yeah.
So because you've been on before, if people are interested in some of the more real estate related advice that you may have to give, I would suggest they go check out that first episode, because in this one, in the questions that I may or may not have prepared 5 minutes ago, I want to talk a little bit more about you.
Okay.
And the reason for that is, like I said, we already covered a lot of the real estate things, but also I think an interesting aspect of this podcast is seeing the different personalities that fit into the career of being a real estate agent, and how you interpret the career itself. So that sounds really vague and slightly cryptic, but perhaps the questions will illuminate what I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah.
So, but before we get into those, I do want to talk about something real estate related first, because as I've said in the past 1 or 2 episodes, I have been keeping up with the market less and less these days, and yet it is changing ever so rapidly. So I'm wondering if you could give us some of your perspective, Ray, some of the changes you're seeing in the market, and educate me, my friend.
Yeah, so I will say you're not really seeing those, mad dashes to properties and lines outside like there were, back in 2021 and even some of, this year. Listing activity is, from what I've seen, slowed down. And again, I think that's due to the interest rate hikes on top of, prices already being high for those buyers that were already maxed out. And I mean, in that 300 to 400K range, 200 to 300K range, like that's where a lot of people are, and that are especially trying to like buy a home for the first time. Those interest rate changes just destroyed their budget. So, I mean, a lot of people had to either wait, rent, or, excuse me, like figure out, when the right time to buy will be, or really just get sidelined. And now that like there's still a ton of people that want to buy, but now there's far fewer people that actually can buy. So even like good listings, if you're listing a property and it's got a ton of positives to it, you're not seeing like showings booked all day long anymore. You might get, a decent amount on a weekend, but you're not getting a gajillion offers. So that's been tough. What that will do for agents is like, now if you're listing a home, you really have to know what you're doing. Like you have to actually market the property, and you need to price it right. You can't just stick a sign in the yard and it'll get sold by the next day. That just isn't really happening anymore.
Interesting. Well, that is definitely a 180 from what I've been used to, and I'm sure you've been used to for the past couple of years.
Yeah, it was a very it's a complete 180, because I was used to trying to get, especially like for instance in Riverview, you try to see something in that 300 to 400K range and it's booked all weekend. But now you don't really have to compete for showings as much, and you're seeing a lot more FHA and VA contracts, or offers get accepted, which is great for those buyers that are still, able to buy, especially maybe with the Hometown Heroes program that, gives up to I believe it's $25,000 grant, to like first responders, teachers, and veterans. It's like a whole list of, occupations, but I'm sure that's helped, a decent amount of those buyers. But also you're also seeing, that was redundant, more contracts or more homes come back on the market because people are now like negotiating more.
I see. So
their buyers have a little bit more power than they did before, which is nice. So, I mean, I'm definitely seeing more price drops in the market and longer days on market. So, if you're thinking about selling your home, you can still sell it for sure and get good money for your home, but don't expect the rush that has been the past 2 years. Because that's just not really where we're at anymore. And, make sure that you price appropriately. Trust your agent. If they're giving you a price and and they've done their research on the home, there's probably a reason why they're telling you what it is. And listing high, that's just going to shoot yourself in the foot, because then you're not really going to get a whole lot of you probably won't get a whole lot of activity. And the longer your home sits on the market, people are going to ask why. Same thing with price drops. So once you start having to drop those price, like you have one shot to like, bam, hit a home run with your listing. So if you're a seller, you want that to be like the best impression of your home, because that's where people are going to see. That's really, like Ellison told me this, but like that's the first showing is online.
Yeah.
When you're presenting your home to a prospective buyer, and if they don't like what they see online, then they're not going to book a showing for your home, and it's going to sit, and you don't want it to sit. You want it to sell.
It's like dating. The first impression is online these days,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both married men, so
I'm not married.
It was a joke.
Oh, yeah, I'm not married.
Married to the game, am I right?
Oh.
Heyo.
Oh, well, I don't know about that either. Like
Somewhere in the middle. So Ray, that's good to know, man. I'm encouraged to hear that it's getting a little bit easier for buyers. You mentioned that negotiations are happening a lot more often. Do you think now more than ever that's an important skill for agents to have?
Yeah, I mean, this is the ability to communicate. I think that's important for everybody. But yeah, I mean, being able to be the rational mind and be able to convey what you, like, you're representing a buyer or seller, representing what the party you're representing wants to the other party, and actually being more willing to put your foot down. And I actually had that. So I had a buyer, I think this was closed last month, but I had a buyer that they made a nice offer, and the sellers countered, and what they countered with was, it was kind of silly to my buyers, and they took it offensively. So they were like, nope, forget it. And then I wound up getting a call like they wanted to, go with our offer. So, I mean, we actually wound up getting that home in closing. But I think a large part of that was because we were willing to say like, no, like actually say no.
Yeah.
Because for a while, the past 2 years, it's kind of been, you're at the mercy of, if you're representing buyers, you're kind of at the mercy side of the listing, or the mercy, and you're at the mercy of the listing side.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Message received, my friend. Well, I'm glad it's getting a little bit easier in some ways, but it sounds like for those agents that were like born and bred in the COVID era market, gonna have to adapt relatively quickly, right?
Yeah, and I do think like this time will, you actually have to put more effort in, and there's definitely going to be people that fall. I mean, real estate has a high attrition rate or turnover rate. Like, there's a lot of people that leave.
Yeah.
It's got a high rate of people that leave. I think it's within like 18 months. So if you're used to just being able to just kind of wing it, now you're not really going to be able to do that. And it's really like the agents that know what they're doing or are investing that time to learn so they can, price appropriately or like navigate the market, they're going to do better than the agents that, were just kind of just like shooting fish in a barrel.
The strong will survive.
Yeah.
You will be one of them, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, no problem. Talking about a high attrition rate, this is a good segue, I think, into the other theme of the questions that I have here for you, which are more directed towards your experience. Okay. So the high attrition rate, I partially would contribute to people not knowing what they're getting into, right? So my question for you in that vein is, what do you think, or how do you think people misunderstand the career of being a real estate agent?
It's kind of funny. I actually watched the South Park episode on realtors.
It,
oh, you need to. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But
the whole theme of that episode was like essentially we do nothing. Like we just get paid to take a photo and like and it's like have this super drastic like
Headshot.
yeah. So I would say, what was the original question?
What do you think people misunderstand about their career? Yeah.
So I feel like people think that it's very simple, but I would say that they don't take into account that you're kind of dealing with all different types of people. You don't take into account that everything's on you. Like, yeah, your brokerage might help you, but at the end of the day, it's all on you to make it work. Being a 1099, I mean, that's a whole different like tax animal that you have to deal with and things that you have to track. No insurance, so
Holla.
yeah, that's lovely. No real bit like benefits. You got to do it all. And this was a big one for me, but also you are kind of on call all the time.
Yeah.
Like you can take time off, but you still get calls, you still get texts, you still get emails. You're still kind of at the mercy of,
the game.
Yeah, exactly. Just like how it is in real estate. I mean, someone calls you if you're off and someone wants to see something, you kind of want to you want to help them and show them, whatever they want to see. Of course, you should have those boundaries in place to like for your own, mental health and well-being.
Sanity.
And yeah, exactly. But it's still like another notification. It's still another thing. It's like a to-do list that never really ends.
Right.
So
that's one of those things that comes up on here a lot. So I think kind of to summarize what you're saying, it sounds like people just underestimate how difficult it can be and how grueling it can be at times. Mm-hmm. And what you said about the South Park episode makes me think of something that I talked to Brett about when he was here, which is, and I'm curious to get your opinion on it, like how the media sort of portrays the career, which is, I haven't seen the South Park episode, but it sounds like they're kind of simplifying it or dramatizing it a little bit. And so what I talked to Brett about was like the what's the word for it? Reality TV shows that are all real estate based and how they sort of sensationalize things, and they tend to portray or profile realtors that, like, to put it nicely, like don't have their head in the game per se. Mm-hmm. It's more so about like the dramatic side of it. So people get this kind of impression of it through the media that you guys don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Or that we get paid to do nothing.
Yeah.
But you have to close on the home to get paid. So, and actually that's another thing for people to consider. You don't get paid until the end. So anything that you invest in the beginning, there's no guarantee that you're going to recoup any of that,
right? Or
even get paid at all. Like you can have, a 30-day, 45-day, even a 60-day contract fall apart, and then what? Like that's like now you don't get paid for that. And you could have done a ton of, spent a ton of money to try to, get that job done and like market it and whatever you need to do. But sometimes like what's going to happen, like if you are working, you do all of this and then someone just decides that they want to try working with somebody else.
Yeah,
like
change my mind.
Yeah, or they're no longer in the market. Now, granted, they could come back at a later date, but if you were banking on like, okay, you were planning for something and then you just got a 180 turned on you, it's like, what?
So like part of the issue then it sounds like is the media or even agents themselves tend to over portray or over highlight like the wins, whereas people don't see a lot of the losses behind the scenes. So they see it as just all wins and, it's an easy career. You don't have to do much. You get paid, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. You mainly see like someone showing a house and then them also driving like a nice car or having nice clothes. But it's a lot more than that. So
absolutely. I'm curious to your take on this as well then. When I talked to Emily Haight on here, shout out to Emily Haight, we talked about this exact thing, which is realtors don't really show the losses. So she suggested a shift in the culture of the career where agents should be less afraid to share when things go terribly wrong or when they have a bad couple of months or whatever, which I think is part of the, not to toot my own horn, or it's not just me, but the appeal of this podcast is on here. A lot of the times we talk about like the more boring side of things and or the losses and or the struggles, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So do you think that's important?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that just kind of comes down to just being open. And yeah, I do think that could help. And that's also like what people identify with. Like a lot of meme pages for agents, it's a lot on like the negatives that you don't see. And it's just like making light of it so everybody can have a good laugh. But yeah, there's plenty of times where like, even for me, like I've had months where I didn't get paid.
Yeah.
That's scary. You never want, like, you don't really ever want that. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's not an easy thing to do, especially like starting from scratch. And like, here's, another thing, like with spheres of influence, like even like younger agents, with the way prices are now and everything, like people their age probably aren't going to be ready to buy. So, I mean, they'll have sphere clients for the future, but
The long-term future.
yeah, exactly. Like, all right, you're not really helping your classmate. I mean, there's probably very few people that are, 21 and able to buy a home.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I haven't really seen it.
Listen, man, I'm 24. I ain't ready right now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. So, yeah, that's tough, man. So people out there, it helps if you know a realtor. You can see the inside scoop on these things,
Yeah.
I know a couple of them.
Yeah, like, well, I think we have like 80 something agents now.
Yeah, that sounds about right. A lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. So, Ray,
Sir.
talking about perceptions of the career and that sort of thing, I always find this to be a funny question. You've probably seen those memes where it's like, what my girlfriend thinks I do, what my best friend thinks I do, what my family thinks I do, what I actually do. And they're all like 4 completely different things, right? So how would you think, let's just say your family, how would your family describe what you do?
Well, actually, so, I don't have like a ton of family.
Sure.
But I would think that they think that I show houses and close contracts. I don't really know if they think too much about what I do, but I do know that my grandmother, my dad tells me that she is like my biggest fan on Facebook. And so anytime I post something like just sold or listed or anything like that, she's always one of the first people to comment. And, I appreciate that. I value that support.
Yeah.
So, I think they just feel proud. That I don't really think they concern themselves too much about what I do day to
The
day.
minutia.
But just like the fact that I'm doing something and like, I'm doing something and it seems like things are going well. Like I'm not sitting here with nothing, and they just want me to be happy at the end of the day. So,
Right on, my man.
They celebrate my success, which I'm very, even though I'm not the best at showing it because I'm not like a super like family person. I do appreciate their support and really don't know what I would do without either of them.
That's nice, man. If I'm not mistaken, the first podcast that we did, I think your grandma actually commented under it.
Yep,
Yeah.
probably, more than likely. Yep.
That's sweet, man. My family's the same way. It's nice to have those everlasting supporters,
Yeah.
for sure. So, Ray, talking about different types of people in your life, who would you say, at least right now, are some of the most influential people on your career or on your personal life? We're getting deep.
Influential.
And you can't say me.
Most influential. So I'd have to say for one, David Goggins is super cool.
Right on.
Because he really callous his mind. I listened to his audiobook. Wow, and I'm blanking on the name, but what is it?
I'm Googling it right now.
Yeah,
Is it
Can't Hurt Me. Boom.
Master your mind and defy
Yeah.
the odds?
So I really love people's stories. So especially when they struggled a lot, and I think again it's because I identify with it.
Yeah.
So when they are at a point like a place of success, or just hearing what they did and how things were for them, like connecting with someone's story like that, I think that that's one of the things that can inspire hope. So I just think it's crazy that he went from being miserable all the time and having a rough upbringing to like being like one of the most physically insane people ever. Like he's known for running super long distances. I don't know if he still has it, but he had like the pull-up record. There's like thousands of pull-ups. Like imagine doing that, but he just like strengthens his mind over and over again by sticking the sword in the fire. So
I'm listening to you. I just Googled the pull-up record. 12 hours into, the record is 4,030 pull-ups.
that's a lot.
That's a couple of pull-ups. If I get through 10, I'm hurting. All right. Let's see. Goggins was exhausted, but after 17 hours and 2 failed attempts, he broke the Guinness World Record for pull-ups, going to 4,030 just to be sure.
Yeah, like it's insane. So I think he's very influential.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
SpongeBob.
Well, I don't know about SpongeBob, but yeah, I think for now I'm gonna stick with that.
You're gonna go Goggins.
I'm sure that there's definitely more, but I told you, again with the Healthy Gamer channel that I was telling you about, Dr. K, he's also very influential because I like how he's able to help so many people with like their struggles and like everyday life and teaching meditation. That's another thing that I've been doing a lot of lately.
Yeah.
Meditation and yoga, and I don't know, I just take a lot from people who are at a successful point and they have like a very interesting past because it wasn't all wonderful
Roses.
Yeah, no, like they definitely had a lot of struggle. So anytime someone struggled a lot and made it out the other side, like I love hearing about like those stories.
Yeah.
So
You seem to be focused a lot on like self-improvement or self-reflection, talking about like yoga and meditation, that sort of thing. So what got you into that, and how do you think that's impacted you?
the perpetual feeling that's always there that there's something wrong with me.
That's what got you into it.
Probably, yeah, like the need to fix, like, something's not right. Because I know that what I learned growing up is not necessarily healthy. So I have to, I have to fix certain things and behaviors. And I go to therapy and everything, and that helps. But
Go to betterhelp.com and use code RealEstatePlaybook for 40% off. No, I'm kidding.
yeah,
Carry on.
A, we're not sponsored, and B,
We are not sponsored.
BetterHelp doesn't have the best reviews.
Oh, not BetterHelp.
Yeah, so
That was a very rude way of me to derail a very serious thing you were saying.
that's okay. More important. Yeah, so I forgot what you were saying.
So you're very focused on just
The
self-improvement.
improvement, yeah. Also, just because, like, I don't know, I try to, like, I'm, like, always trying to rebuild myself and, like, get myself on track. And, that I love learning about behavior and the mind and, like, anything relating to that. Also, like, attachment theory and relationships. So everybody knows, My model for how to be a human in the world is like my mom had borderline personality disorder, which people with BPD struggle a lot with relationships. So I tend to struggle a lot in relationships.
Sure.
So also in a career where it's all on relationships,
Heyo.
like I don't know. It's like I don't set myself for easy success. I always make it pretty challenging for myself. I think we're all our own worst enemy, but I'm trying to be my own biggest supporter.
That's great, man.
And developing more like loving kindness. It's part of the things I've been doing with yoga. And it's just like it's a 10-minute YouTube video in the morning. I bought a mat and, doing this whole thing. But really it's about setting an intention for the day. And she says like one word. But I think of like loving kindness, and that's what I've been wanting to put out, like put more of that out into the world.
Yeah.
So, and that's helped. And that helps. I feel like that's been helping my mind too.
That's good to hear, man. Well, they say, or at least my parents say this, and I've heard this from peers, like, even if you're finding limited success in your practice of self-improvement, the intention of setting out to begin the path of self-improvement in the first place is a positive step.
Yeah.
It is a positive indicator of who you are, Raymond.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, my friend. This has been NPR with Paul and Raymond, and thanks for tuning in. No, I'm kidding. No, that's good advice, man. I think I've, without getting too much, I've been doing similar things recently. I think that's part of why I connect to you, is that you're very willing to share those things, and I think it's beneficial to speak from my own experience for anybody out there, and we're not straying too far from the path here. I think this can help in your career in some ways, in a lot of ways, is just being honest with yourself, and outside of the career, taking whatever action you can to just be a better you, man.
Mm-hmm. What got you started onto that?
My personal path, you mean? A long series of things. I think part of it was at a certain point in college, I kind of realized like, oh, the real world isn't going to wait for me to catch up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's especially like in Western culture, it's very fast.
Yeah.
So
it was just a matter of being honest with myself and being like, all right, well, I guess it starts today. And so I changed a lot of habits, and I redirected my focus on a lot of things, improved my relationships, improved my physical health, all important things. And it's definitely had a positive impact on my life, I'd say. So
good for you. And I'm
Likewise.
really happy for you that you're able to do that. And I want to let you know that I feel like anybody at this brokerage would say that you're a pretty great person. Like, you're very nice. You're very respectful. You know how to have fun. And if you say that you've been working on yourself, well, it shows, because I don't know who you were before, but the person that is here before me today is a pretty good person. So
that's very nice.
Kudos to you, dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. It feels weird to get into some of these other questions now that we went that.
Okay.
No, I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem.
It does kind of tie in, because we're talking about lessons that we've learned over time.
Who cares if it does? Who cares if it doesn't?
Yeah, you'll be all right out there. Yeah.
Podcasts are supposed to be real, so
Follow the thread, if you will. So talking about lessons and so on and so forth, what is a lesson that you've learned from being a real estate agent? Something that perhaps you've realized about yourself or about life?
I've learned that I'm more of an introvert than I thought I was.
Really?
Yeah. So, again, this industry is big on relationships, but like, there's actually a lot of me doesn't like that. Like, I like more, like, I don't like being accessible all the time.
Sure.
I like, being
Privacy.
in control of myself. And before I thought like, oh, I was this, I might have been shy, but it's just like I'm super like a super extrovert, and you would think that, because again I'm like loud and obnoxious, and I'm always like doing something and kind of a clown, but so I very much actually also don't like being the center of attention. Like I do, but I don't. Real estate has helped with that. Real estate has also helped me understand how routine and organization is much more important, and has also showed me a big discipline weakness. So that I'm actually grateful for. Not that I thought I was like this super disciplined person before, but like that's the one thing I do appreciate about real estate is that it does highlight some of these things for me that I was like, okay, well, this doesn't really work. And for me in this, like there's certain things you need to do, like calling people. You need to call people.
Yeah.
I hate being on the phone. Absolutely, I detest it. But it's kind of something you need to do. Like people want to connect. Same thing with like more videos and everything. Like to me, again, videos can be kind of like weird. I think a lot of people feel that way, but
Yet here we are.
It's kind of what you have to do because that's what people want to see, and that's how you market these days. So you kind of have to get over it or find an innovative way around it. And I haven't found an innovative way around it yet.
Well, you're here, man. As I said, I think we're making steps in the right direction.
Absolutely.
So do you think then identifying as an introvert, which at times I do as well, I would say most of the time I do as well, even when I try to fool myself otherwise, can introverts do well, succeed in this career? I mean, obviously you've done well, but I'm just curious if you could make a generalization.
Yeah, so like again, I don't think I'm like a super introvert. I just think I have more introverted tendencies than I previously thought. But I do think introverts can be successful. Like they need to have their alone time. If you can and it'll be hard again because I don't know if everybody feels this way, but at least I feel like I'm on call all the time.
Yeah.
So that's tough for me, but if you're someone that's better at setting those boundaries and like taking that time for yourself, then there's no reason why an introvert couldn't be successful in something like this. I'm sure there's introverted people that have jobs where they talk to people all the time.
Yeah.
That's like one of the biggest parts of this. Or you could be an introverted marketer. Mm-hmm. That's another part of this. So yeah, I wouldn't say that's the thing. We can defy our own perceived like limitations. So even if it's like, oh, I don't think that this type of person would be good in this setting, that's not necessarily true.
Yeah,
they can be because people will adapt, and we don't really know the true depths of another person and everything that they're capable of. So you can always learn something from anybody you meet.
That's a fact. To inject some of my personal experience, like I said, getting very close to the microphone, I identify as an introvert, and I think part of it is like, if you know it's going to benefit you, it definitely helps to push yourself outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So for me in high school, I was intensely introverted. Anybody that knows me can attest to that if you're watching. And part of the way that I sort of pushed myself out of that box, because I thought, well, I'm introverted, but maybe I don't know how to phrase this. I saw the appeal of being an extrovert. Let's just put it
the
that way.
Appeal?
Does that make any sense? Like,
what is the appeal of being an extrovert?
Well, this might have,
or what was appealing?
This might have been just me projecting, but I always saw it as like, oh, extroverted people, they make the most friends, they do the best in their careers, and so on and so forth, and whatever else comes with that. I think I was probably trying to succeed in the dating world at the time as well. Not anymore. I'm a happily married man, as we covered. Not literally, but sort of. So to redirect there. So part of the way I push myself out of the introvert box, out of my comfort zone, as you will, is I joined the debate club in high school.
Okay.
As someone who was highly uncomfortable with A, public speaking, and B, confrontation, that was an interesting experience. And I started it in my sophomore and my junior year. And by senior year, I was the vice president of the debate club, like went to conventions and everything. And I found it really interesting. I forget what the point is that I'm trying to make here, but I think overall it definitely helps to push yourself outside of your comfort zone, and you might be pleasantly surprised on what you might find.
Yeah, because we can do more. We just have like our own insecurities and fears that prevent us from doing so. But once you put yourself out there, and you don't have to go balls to the wall, but just to do something. Like you started with a debate club. That could be someone someone going to the gym for the first time, or someone going to an art class or that they've been wanting to do but haven't. Like I actually told an agent this, but my mom, one thing that she told me was that there was this comedy museum club that opened up down the street from where she lived, and she really was like, she was very much an entertainer and loved to like make people laugh. And she told me that that it would be super cool to go there, and she would want to, go check it out and, see what was up. And I told her well, you should go, because she was always kind of like a comedian. But she didn't want to do it because she was missing a tooth.
She didn't want to go to the museum because of that?
No, because I think it was like she would like to perform.
I see.
So I don't know if it had that too, but like she was talking to me about, the idea of going and doing stand-up.
Got it, yeah.
And that's because, she was self-conscious and insecure, but it was, again, she was missing a tooth, and I was like, that doesn't matter. Who cares? No one's going to care.
Right.
But she wound up never being able to make it. So,
yeah,
she passed away 2 years ago.
Sorry, man.
So I appreciate that. Thank you. But that's was one of those things where it's like, see, she had a whole bunch of things that she wanted to do, and for her entire life, her insecurities and negative thoughts limited her a lot.
Yeah.
And now what? You don't get a chance. We only have one chance to do what we want. So that's what I've been reflecting a lot on lately, because the 14th was her birthday. So it's just reflecting on the reality of mortality and what, really living life to how you want, because you got one shot. So, I think the quality of your life is, in direct proportion to your relationships and the things that you do on a day-to-day basis.
For sure.
And if some of those things that you ultimately want, if they're kind of hidden behind these insecurity walls, it's having the courage to at least try to get over the wall, or get through, or find a way, just by, a little bit of exposure every time. So
on a much smaller scale, that could be something as stupid as picking up the phone and calling someone, like you were saying. Yeah.
So I actually did that lately. So Allison told me that, one of my clients, it was a year since they closed their home, and she said, well, you should call them and give them an update on their home value. Mm-hmm. So I did. I stared at the phone a lot, and I was like, and I looked up everything, and I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to say. And you look at it, and it's But I did it. And then afterwards, it wasn't that bad. And I was like, I've been doing pat yourself on the back. It's something small. And it's the fact that I did it. It was something that was uncomfortable, and I did it. So I think those are the little wins that we should celebrate, and that I don't think we celebrate enough.
I agree with you completely. Yeah. Celebrate the wins.
Because those are if you think about it, that's a significant improvement. If you have someone that, let's say, will never leave their house, they haven't, agoraphobic, and they have not left their house in 10 years, and then one day they step outside and go right back inside. But that step is such a big thing.
Yeah.
Even though it was one step, and then went right back. But just to get to that point, a lot of growth and change had to happen
Yeah.
in order for that to happen. And like that's kind of how people change over time. Maybe the next day it's 2 steps. then
Exactly.
3 steps.
It reminds me of this thing that is very cliche, but I see it all the time where it's like, I don't know if this is the best way to phrase it, but like the path to success is not necessarily linear.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of up and down, sideways, twisty turns, straight drops like Shikra, that kind of shit. But people kind of see it as this very linear thing. So on a smaller scale, if you're not seeing improvement after improvement after improvement, you might get discouraged, which is like why people stop playing guitar if they're not amazing right when they first start, or people give up being a real estate agent because they're not producing millions of dollars in their first couple of months, and so on and so forth. So you got to be willing to take an L every once in a while, I think.
I would agree. I mean, I think that every successful person would say like, you have to come to terms like you're going to fail at things and that's okay.
Yeah.
It is okay to not, knock out of the park your first go. And that's exactly like what you were saying. It's not linear. And the people that capture my interest the most, like, more public figures, is like when I hear that their life, like their path wasn't linear at all.
Yeah.
It was.
Whee!
Because
Hold on, suckers.
I'm like this. So it's like, all right, well, and that just shows like, oh, it's like maybe I'm wrong about this.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think, like you said, it's one way, and it's not. So
Yeah.
Things can work out. You just gotta like keep at it and trust that it will. Whatever it is you need to trust in, trust that everything's gonna be all right.
Hold on, baby.
And if you need help, ask for it.
That's right. That's right.
I just kind of want to make voices and like just play with the mic.
I definitely want to keep that SpongeBob
Dude.
thing in, man. That was stupid. Ray, that's all. Chef's kiss, my friend. Chef's kiss. Bellissimo. Bellissimo. You don't know.
No, sir.
I don't. Yeah. So again, I'm finding myself in that awkward thing where I'm like, the next thing I want to ask you, you know what I mean? I really just have 2 more questions for you, man.
Whoa.
Because we are approaching an hour, which this happened last time where we were like, how the hell did that happen?
Damn it, Paulie. Damn it, Paulie. I tell you what. Another hour on this little podcast thing you got going here.
It's so good. If I close my eyes, it's like I'm watching an episode.
Whoa.
Okay, so
Yeah. I think I said this earlier to him, but like being a voice actor, I think that'd be really cool. I like doing impressions, and I kind of like acting in general. In that sense, I do like being like an entertainer.
a showman
Yeah.
in that way. I'm just learning this about you, so this is very amusing to me. So Ray, what do you think the world of real estate will look like 5 years from now?
I think any agent would say that there's no way to actually tell.
That is a fantastic answer.
Yeah.
Because I thought you were going to jump into something about like NFTs.
No,
like,
I'm not going to make up some bullshit. Like, no one knows.
No one knows.
No one knows. You can guess, but I don't like people. So, like, this slowdown that happened, it was just like a out of nowhere. Yeah. Like, I mean, you could see a little bit of it coming, but it was just like busy. I know.
That was good. That
Yeah.
was good. Right.
Dum.
Carry on.
So, and I think like a lot can change between now and then. So truthfully, I don't know. I think, Annie was telling us a little bit about the NFTs and everything. And I don't know a ton about NFTs, but I would assume like, maybe that'll be involved. But I think good old cash is going to be like still the standard. And, we'll see. I mean, because we have a ton of people that come here. Maybe a ton of people will come here and then want to leave. I think people are always kind of shifting around.
Yeah.
So
We might be underwater in 5 years. Who knows?
That's very soon.
That's where it ends right there. That's the end of the podcast. We might be underwater soon. Coming to you from Paul Goldman, the expert on such matters.
That's Paul Goldman, the expert in such matters. Thank you for tuning in to Paul Goldman and the 54 Real Estate Playbook podcast.
Okay. All right. There's my podcast or my business card right there.
Yep. I just want to play with the mic. Yeah.
It was your worst enemy when we started.
Yeah, but like I'm kind of like a child and like it's got my interest now.
The technology.
Yeah.
Man. It's fun. I brought, I don't know if she'll be listening, but Allison Silver, shout out to Allison Silver.
Whoa.
Her and Nick and Natalia were in here helping me put up these foam panels.
Very nice foam we have in the podcast.
Very nice foam. And I had the microphone equipment set up, and they were getting so much joy from just playing around with it. And just like something about just hearing your own voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you're just like, oh, that's what I sound like.
Yeah, because you're also like
You're able to tune it better. Like you can go up or you can go down, depending on the type of effect that you're trying to achieve.
So how do you feel about you seen this? You seen this in the news lately? How do you feel about this climate change? You ever heard of it?
I mean, I reckon I would tell you that the climate might be changing purely because like the past couple of weeks have been just hot as the devil. On a serious note, yeah, it's been pretty bad.
It's been really bad.
But I do like the sun, so I do think I'm part plant. That was silly.
You need that vitamin D, baby.
I actually, yes, I have a supplement that I take, and I get a lot of sun. Oh, all right, hold on.
He's about to like turn his watch
Boom.
into like a what the?
You won't be able to see that.
Push in on that. I don't know if you can see that. All right, so for audio, he's moving away from the microphone and he's showing the camera his intense tan line on his wrist.
Yeah.
So he really is out in the sun a lot, this guy. Me, on the other hand, I go out in the sun for 5 minutes. I burn. There's no tan line to speak of.
Yeah, I feel like I need it. Like I keep this on it's like a reminder so I can keep looking at it and check like
the progress.
Look how far I've come. Yeah.
It's a microcosm of what we were just talking about, really. So, Ray.
Sir.
So we usually end the podcast by asking, what's your advice for the new agents out there, that sort of thing. But we did that already.
Yeah.
So instead, and it can't be one that you've mentioned already, if you could recommend, ready for this, one book or one movie or one podcast or one TV show to people out there, what would it be?
For just like in general?
It could be something that you feel has had a positive impact on your life, or it could just be for entertainment value.
Well, I would say, like, for instance, if you're an agent, a good book is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think
Carnegie, right?
Yeah, Dale Carnegie. And just like anything that helps you understand people, because
they're hard to understand.
Yeah, people are very complex, and when you can understand and connect with a person like that and build those relationships, that's what will take you really through life. As far as like something that is, what was the original questions?
If you could recommend one piece of media to people, what would it be? Bum, 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 bum.
Like there's so many different types of media. Like a singular, I don't know. I could recommend this podcast. I could recommend. I mean, I think Two Bears, One Cave is good for laughs.
There it is.
Two Bears, One Cave is good for laughs.
Shout out to Tommy Segura.
Yeah. Bert Kreischer. Former Knoll.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. Of course, and also Dr. Huberman, if you're into neuroscience.
Yes, absolutely.
And honestly, for people, if you can wake up and try to do some like, just something on meditation or affirmations. I think that would help set the tone for the day. Yeah, any media that you find yourself particularly drawn to, I think you should, try to ask yourself why and see if they're like dive deeper into that. Maybe you're like, if there's something you're passionate about, that might be worth looking into.
Certainly.
Because I feel like not enough people do. And there's like people that are passionate about things, but, don't really take the leap or are afraid to take the leap. And I think that really discovering who you are as a person at the core is like, that is how you live like a healthy, balanced life, and you really know yourself. And yeah.
Amen.
But as far as like immediate, I mean, I'm going to say that, I feel like everybody kind of feels this way, but the news is just.
I'll tell you what, boy.
I'll tell you what, the goddamn news is just so goddamn negative all the time. And, yeah, it's very hard to be happy when you got all that negativity.
And it's just all trying to get emotional reactions. So anything that brings you peace, yes, that is a good piece of media. And I don't know, if it's something that you like is not out there, why don't you create that media?
Oh. Do it yourself, people.
You actually can sing pretty well.
You think I got a little bit of range
Yeah.
on me, man? I've been told that,
Yeah, because we were like, whoo, whoo, like I was like picturing a sound wave, like whoom, whoom.
I can see the sound waves on my screen, right?
Oh shit.
Well, why don't I take us out with a little song then?
Okay.
La 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 la, wait till I get my money right.
Oh,
There it is. You could see me like trying to debate what song to go for there. But Ray, hey man, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, no problem. I had fun. Thank you for having me again.
As always, my guy. Do you want to promote anything, social media or anything like that?
You can find me at Raymond the Realtor with a period between. I gave up my name. And now I have to have 2 periods between the words. But Raymond the Realtor, all separated. On Instagram, I think the same thing on TikTok, but I think I actually have the same. I have just Raymond the Realtor on TikTok, but I don't really do TikToks. I need to do more TikToks. And then like Raymond Matos Facebook.
Raymond Matos on Facebook.
Yeah, that's where you could find me.
That's right.
Slide into the DMs.
All the links will be down below.
All the links.
All the links will be down below.
All the links.
And hey guys, it's me, Paul. If you listen to this podcast and you found yourself wondering what the heck is wrong with these boys, look within yourself and ask yourself that same question.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think anything's wrong. I think we're just having fun.
I think that's the name of the game, baby.
You need structure, but I hate structure.
I do too.
I like to just wing it.
Get a little crazy.
Get a little loco.
Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm really enjoying this new equipment here, so hopefully these episodes will sound a little bit better for you going forward. Mm-hmm. You can hear our voices in crisp HD quality, and you won't miss anything. That being said, thanks for joining us. If you're listening on Spotify and or Apple Music and or one of the other ones, go ahead and do me a favor. They're all different, but drop like a like or like a 5-star rating or one of those good things.
like, comment, or subscribe.
All of that. It's a good ego boost and it helps for the algorithm. If you're watching on YouTube, I'd like to commend you because the video portion of this does take some time to edit. So if you are watching on YouTube, hey, do me a favor. Drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. That way you can get notified when we post every week, because we haven't missed a week yet. Actually, that's not true. We have, and I do apologize for that. That being said, this is episode 44.
Gang.
I'm a 4, he's a 4, but if you put us together,
We're an 8.
we're an 8, baby.
And that's almost a 10.
That's almost
That's
that.
almost a 10, buddy.
Have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week, and thank you for tuning in to the Real Estate Playbook, hosted by Paul Goldman, with special guest Raymond Matos. Thank you, and good day, everybody. Doom, 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 doom.
Theme song.